Hi everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. It's time for another comic book review video. For those of you who watched my pull list video on Wednesday, you'd know that really I only had 3 books to pick up this week. But that's clearly not enough to get me through a week of comic book reading. So I did pick up another 2. And to be fair, I'm glad I did. As you'll have seen from the title of this video, I did have a few problems with some of the books this week, and we shall get on to them right away. Okay, let's kick off with Batman issue 29, the rip-off issue. And I'm not really talking about the price here, though it is another hit on your wallet at $4.99. And I do feel that it doesn't have to be this expensive. And Snyder is having basically to double up on his issues because of these little digressions that keep happening along the way. Like last month's kind of look to the future for the Batman Weekly Eternal comic that's coming out. And I think he's got this schedule to keep on this title. So to catch up, they've got to put out another bumper. Okay, you're getting extra pages for your buck, but I don't want to be hit every time just because you want to plug the next big Batman event, their weekly comic. That could have easily been a one-shot comic that you bought if you were going to be interested in picking up their new weekly title. Having said that, I have to say, and this kind of did come out in a video a few days ago, and a lot of people were talking about Scott Snyder, and I agreed in some respects to them that I do think he's a very good writer. I would love to hear another voice writing Batman now. He's been on there for quite a while. He's obviously enjoying himself doing this, but this year-long event, it's starting to become very trying, and I have noticed something, and it came blaringly obvious in this issue. And I'm not necessarily going to be talking about this issue in any depth, apart from the fact that by the time I finished it, I just thought, right, okay, Snyder is trying to kind of revamp, retell Batman's early years, whether it's kind of like it's his origin story or his first broach into being Batman. So, but by the end of this comic, I was very confused because basically this comic, this was No Man's Land. This was The Dark Knight Rises. This was Batman Year One, and a tiny little bit of it was All-Star Batman and Robin. Now, all this has to have been done deliberately, especially the All-Star Batman and Robin little throwaway line in there. But there was nothing I felt original about it. Sure, you're doing a story that has been retold and retold and retold, and I know a lot of us have, you know, I know we've read comics for a long time and there are new people coming in, but do we have to have that story, however tweaked it is, retold yet again? But the problem is, he's picking up little bits of stories from the whole canon of the Batman universe storylines and mashing them all into this origin year one story. And me personally, I'm just done with it. Of course I'm going to be picking up the next lot of issues. I'm not going to be dropping Batman anytime soon. But, oh, just get the pace sped up. Phew. I mean, even, like I said, there's a lot of action and adventure. Greg Capullo's art is amazing. The colorist and on this, I don't think it's Danny Meeke, it's someone else. I think Danny Meeke is the inker on this. I can't remember the colourist, but it's all coming together, and it all looks very nice. It all looks very kind of cinematic and epic. But this was all meant to be about the Riddler, and he does seem to be quite an afterthought so far. And he just seems to be a kind of plain rogue villain for Batman. He doesn't seem to do a lot. That kind of playfulness of his riddles, etc., seems to have been washed aside for our new 52 Batman, and he just kind of, he's changed too far away from what I remember him as. Maybe it's different for other people, I don't know. But it's like a burger from McDonald's, from Burger King. You eat it for 10 minutes, you've forgotten about it, and you're hungry for more 10 minutes later. Okay, on to Astro City issue 10. And this is my agenda issue with this comic. It's been obvious, though more subtly in the last few issues, that this is a very feminist storyline, and there is nothing wrong with that. All power to you girls. I'm not knocking Kurt Busiek for putting that story forward, but with this issue, it just stuck in my throat, and I just thought I've just been pounded over the head with 100 bricks, letting me know that women should be strong, should be independent, they shouldn't need men. And yes, I understand this is coming from this council of Nike, and it is Winged Victory who actually stands up to them and puts her case finally forward. But it just seemed like such an outdated idea, a feminist idea, that women don't need men at all, and that even any association with men is looked down upon with disdain. It just made me feel kind of icky. And I was so glad that by the end of this, Winged Victory finally stood up to them and went, no, I've actually been toe to toe with these guys, and while I've helped them out at times, they've helped me. It's not being about completely independent of men. It's working together as equals. So I'm glad that he did put that at the end, but I just felt this council, how can they be so blinkered, so narrow-minded, so and this isn't one of like Dynamite's pulpy type, which is set back like decades and decades ago. This, to me, maybe someone could tell me I'm wrong, but this seems to me to be set here in the future, and those ideals, are they still, that kind of ideology, is that still prevalent within like the women's movement? And that disappoints me. Sorry, I'm getting a bit political here, but the comic book itself, the kind of fight between oh my god, what's his name, is it Carnazon? Weird name. That is like over within a few pages. The kind of big smackdown, and it does the ending. I'm trying not to give the ending away, but it's kind of, it left me kind of like, have they taken her powers away now or not? Because I don't recall having seen her in the last 3 issues not being Winged Victory and being her kind of civilian self. And at the very last panel, when she goes to visit her mother, she visits her as her civilian self, not as Winged Victory. So there is some ambiguity there. Astro City, it's a classic. No, it's not a classic, but it's a very good, well-told story. That just the whole feminist agenda bit kind of stuck in my throat a little. Okay, we're on to an IDW title. Don't get many of these. But Steve Niles clearly really wants to write a Frankenstein story. And I think he's fed up of waiting for Bernie Wrightson to finish the next issue of Frankenstein Alive. So he's written Monster and Mad Men. This is a secret history story where apparently Frankenstein will meet Jack the Ripper. This issue is predominantly about Frankenstein. He is without his creator. He is out in the world on his own trying to get by and just trying to live day by day. He ends up on a ship working for the captain, basically keeping to himself. Unfortunately, the ship sinks, it capsizes, and he's left lying on the shore right at the very end, and we have this dark figure looming over him, which you presume is Jack the Ripper. The artwork, I said on Wednesday on my pull list video, it drew me a lot because it does look very Ben Temple Smith, and I love his artwork. Anyone who watched my reviews for 10 Grand when he was still on that title heard me enthuse about it no end. There are parts in it that are maybe a little bit too dark. You can't quite make out what's going on, and I know that kind of does add to the atmosphere, to the ambience and the creepiness and the spookiness of this title, but let's turn the light up just a touch, maybe a bit more oil in the burner. But if you're still waiting for, you know, the Niles, Wrightson, Frankenstein Alive, because we don't know when the next issue's coming out, I would certainly recommend you picking up this one. I'll be looking forward to issue 2. It's going on my pull list. East of West issue 10. What a joy this comic book was to read. We all keep saying to you, the ones of us that are still buying this, you should have had a little bit of patience and stopped dropping it so soon, because this is a fantastic comic book. We've had, over the last couple of issues, Hickman building this universe for this book, and now he's gone right back to our main character, Death, and his companions, and his search for his son. And wow, we've had the kind of this big kind of megalopolis, is that a word? The big city, we've had the political intrigue, we've had royal houses, and then he takes us to a barren landscape of desert, and it's still so immersive, and you just feel the heat. Dragotta and Frank Martin are doing amazing work on this book. This, I mean, it's always good, but this issue is the best I've ever seen it. We get the kind of the end bit with Death and Oracle and the deal that they both made, which really went sour for Death, but has led him on to his next kind of location. And this is where his companions come in, and we get to hear a little bit more about them. We hear their voices coming through, a little bit of history about Wolf, and we meet his father in the middle of this desert, and we have this huge kind of mystic, spiritual battle where the unexpected happens right at the end. It took me, I had to go back and read the last few pages just to figure out exactly what just happened. And then I went, wow. Oh! We have a new character introduced in the last page. And there is definitely someone out there who does not want Death to find his son. Please go out, buy the trades of this, catch up with it. If I'm enjoying a Hickman book, and I don't often do, it means it's a good one. Finally, it's Stray Bullets, issue 1. Another new issue 1 from Image by David Lapham. This, I don't know whether this is a mini-series because there is an ongoing Stray Bullets title. This one is called Killers. And I haven't read a lot. I got the first couple of issues free of Comixology digitally, and I am going to be going out there now and looking for any of these books I can pick up, because I just had one hell of a ride with it, and that's why I really wanted to get in there on the kind of ground floor with this new series of Stray Bullets. And it's so simple. It's a black and white comic, nothing wrong with that. It tells kind of like a slice of life. You have a story encapsulated in one issue, and it's just so perfectly told. If this doesn't get your juices going, I don't know what will, but you know, we've got strippers, we've got guns, we've got kind of hitmen, there is kind of like a cheating dad in there, there's kids who are just horrible to each other, as we all were when we were kids. We didn't realise how horrible we actually were to each other. It was kind of like the bullying each other and all that kind of thing. But it's told in such a kind of, it feels simple. It's not like a heavy read, though there is a lot of text to read in this. But it just, I was there. I was immersed for however long it took to read this, and I didn't want to look up, I didn't want to look away, I wanted to read it from start to finish, and Lapham just did that for me. He told me a story, it had a little twist here and there, it had a bit, what's that about? Will that be picked up in later issues? Because he does use a lot of the same characters. It feels very much like Linklater films, Richard Linklater, like Slacker, where you have this conversation going on, and while someone walks away, you pass another conversation going on and you go into that conversation, but it's all kind of tied up together. If you haven't read Stray Bullets, this is an ideal point to jump on. I didn't know much about Stray Bullets. I've read like 2 issues of it in the past, and I had no problem reading this. I'm going to say it, pick of the week. So that's it for this week. Thank you all very much for watching. Again, if this is your first time here and you liked what you saw and you want to see more, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my videos, especially this one. Give it a big thumbs up if you liked it, and tell me what you thought about your comic books and what I've just spoke about my comic books in the box below. Until next week, I hope you have a great weekend. I'm off to drink some beer now. Bye bye.